The train rattled. Claire, lost in thought, reached into her purse. Bills, crumpled tissues, her fingers brushed against something unfamiliar. It was a receipt, long, thin paper, like from an old-fashioned cash register. Odd, she never used cash. Claire unfolded the receipt, her brow furrowing. It was not from any store she recognized. The name at the top sent a chill down her spine. Karen's Crossing, beneath a list of items. Passage for one, 1 ounce courage, tears of the lost. Her heart pounded. It was a morbid joke, right? Then she saw the date. Not today's date. A date exactly 1 week in the future. Her birthday. Claire quickly shoved the receipt back into her purse. Her rational mind screamed for logic, but a knot of fear tightened in her stomach. This was insane, it had to be, but the date, her birthday, the items, the unease lingered. The rest of the day passed in a blur. Claire tried to focus on work, but the receipt haunted her thoughts. Karen's Crossing, a mythological reference? Karen, the ferryman of the dead, carrying souls across the river Styx. The items on the list echoed the myth. It was all too much. She pulled out her phone, needing a distraction. Social media, news, anything to silence the growing dread. A text message flashed on the screen. It was from her friend, Sarah. "Hey, remember Mark? His memorial is next week, on your birthday. Hope you can make it. Mark." Their college friend, tragically killed in an accident a year ago. The memorial on her birthday. The same date on the receipt. Coincidence? Claire broke out in a cold sweat. The room seemed to close in around her. The air felt heavy, suffocating. Claire stumbled to her feet, needing to escape the confines of her office, the mounting terror. This couldn't be happening. It was just a receipt, just a text, just a horrible, terrifying coincidence, right? The days that followed were a blur of anxious anticipation and mounting dread. The receipt remained tucked away in her purse, a constant, chilling reminder of the impending date. Sleep offered no escape. Nightmares plagued her, filled with shadowy figures and whispers of her name. Claire tried to rationalize the situation. Maybe the receipt was a prank, a cruel joke by someone who knew about Mark's memorial. But who would do such a thing? And how did they know about her aversion to cash? Her unease with the afterlife, her reflection in the mirror startled her. Dark circles underlined her eyes, a testament to her sleepless nights. She barely recognized herself. Fear had a way of distorting reality, of amplifying every shadow, every creak in the floorboards. But even as she tried to convince herself it was all in her head, a nagging voice whispered otherwise. It spoke of things beyond her comprehension, of forces she couldn't begin to understand, and it terrified her. The day before her birthday arrived, heavy with foreboding. The receipt seemed to burn in her purse, a tangible manifestation of her growing terror. She hadn't told anyone about it, afraid of appearing foolish or worse, insane. Working from home, each flickering light, each creak of the house sent shivers down her spine. She found herself constantly checking her reflection in windows, in the blank TV screen, half expecting to see something otherworldly staring back. But there was nothing but her own fear-stricken face. Her phone buzzed, another text from Sarah. "Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. It'll be good to remember Mark together, remember." The word echoed in Claire's mind. The receipt, the date, the impossible items, it all pointed to something sinister. The sun began to set, casting long, eerie shadows across the room. Claire felt a cold hand grip her heart. Tomorrow was her birthday. Tomorrow was the date on the receipt. Tomorrow, she feared, everything would change. Section 5. Whispers of unease. Sleep was impossible. Every time Claire closed her eyes, the list on the receipt materialized behind her eyelids. Passage for one. The words echoed in the silence of her room, amplified by her racing heartbeat. Outside, the wind howled, a mournful sound that seemed to whisper her name, or was it just her imagination, heightened by fear and exhaustion? The line between reality and nightmare blurred. Was she losing her mind? She turned on the TV, desperate for a distraction, but even the mindless chatter of late-night infomercials couldn't drown out the growing dread. Every tick of the clock brought her closer to the inevitable, to the unknown that awaited her. The receipt. She couldn't escape it. It was a tangible link to whatever awaited her, a harbinger of her fate. And as the night wore on, Claire knew, with a certainty that chilled her to the bone, that her life was about to change forever. Section 6. The Unsettling Truth. Morning arrived grey and heavy, mirroring the dread that had settled in Claire's stomach. Today was her birthday. Today was the day. She dressed mechanically, the act of choosing clothes, of applying makeup, feeling utterly surreal. The receipt lay on her nightstand, a silent accusation. She couldn't bring herself to touch it, to look at it, but she couldn't ignore it either. It was a part of her now, a dark secret she couldn't escape. Her phone buzzed again. This time it wasn't Sarah. The number was unknown. Hesitantly, she answered. A raspy voice, barely a whisper, sent chills down her spine. "Looking forward to our meeting, Claire." The line went dead. The receipt, the date, the call, it was all connected, but how and why? Panic welled up inside her, threatening to consume her. She had to do something, anything, to break free from this nightmare. Section 7. A glimmer of hope? Desperate, Claire considered her options. The police? They'd think she was crazy. Sarah? She'd be worried but ultimately helpless. There was no one to turn to, no one who would understand. She was alone. Then a glimmer of hope. Karen's Crossing. The name had to mean something, had to lead somewhere. Maybe if she could find this place, understand its significance, she could break free from this terrifying hold. She grabbed her laptop, her fingers trembling as she typed the name into the search bar. Nothing. She tried different variations, different search engines, but the result was the same. Nothing. It was as if the place didn't exist. But deep down, Claire knew that Karen's Crossing was real. It was the only explanation that made sense, as terrifying as it was, and she had a sinking feeling she was going to find it, whether she wanted to or not. Section 8. Finality's grip. Her phone buzzed again, startling her. The same unknown number. This time Claire didn't hesitate. She answered, her voice a shaky whisper. "Where are you?" The voice on the other end chuckled, a dry, humourless sound. "Right where you're supposed to be, Claire." She could hear faint traffic noises in the background, the blare of a horn. She was running out of time. Suddenly her eyes fell on the receipt lying on the table. It was longer than before. Another item had been added to the list. One sold, slightly used. Beneath it, a handwritten note, "Payment received." The phone slipped from her grasp, clattering to the floor. The traffic noises outside her apartment door grew louder, closer. Someone was coming for her. And she knew with a certainty that transcended fear that she wouldn't be coming back. The receipt, a chilling reminder of a debt she never knew she owed, had been stamped with its final, terrifying truth. Her soul belonged to Karen's Crossing now.